By the right of the council, by the will of the force, welcome back into another episode of the galaxy famous, halcyon approved Jedi Talk podcast. You are following us at Jedi Talk Podcast on Instagram, youtube.com/Jedi Talk, TikTok, when we're available and we feel like posting there, we're at Jedi Talk, Facebook as well at Jedi Talk. Thank you for following us there. I am Tom O'Gree. This is Jedi Talk. Joining me, as always, on the regular council, because I sit on the high council, as always. And we're on Skype today because he went to the wrong glory hole this week. But, ladies and gentlemen, he has COVID. Brad Hughes. Brad, how the hell are you today?
I am good. This is the first day where I actually feel like a human being again.
That's good.
I'm still not great. But, man, I had it when I had it the first time. I was fine, but this time it kicked my ass.
Yeah,
I was down for the count, man. But I'm good. I'm recovering. I'm sitting by. The house is so quiet. I'm by myself this weekend.
Right.
The bourbon. I'm sitting right next to my bourbon. It's tempting me. I haven't drank in like 2 weeks. It's 9 in the morning. I'm ready to start boozing, but I can't. It's 9 in the morning.
Well, this man, I don't think he's boozing over there, but he is the regional governor of an event that we're going to be getting to talk about. Evan T. Boucher. Evan, how the hell are you today?
Diga and good journey. It is definitely too early for fuzzy tauntauns, even for me. I don't know if breakfast bourbon is a thing. Does that exist?
Oh, sure.
Brad? Breakfast bourbon? Okay, there you go.
Well, a podcast that me and Kevin C's Lagoon were going to make called Bourbon Breakfast was going to be a thing. So it almost existed.
Exactly. It's never too late. You can still start it. But
they used to do bourbon oatmeal on Pandora.
Oh, wow.
Really? Huh.
Yep. It was like when they had a breakfast menu for like 2 weeks.
Was it at Pongu Pongu, or was it at the other one, Satuli?
It was at Satuli, yeah. It was like a quick service breakfast. It was
I love Satuli.
Oatmeal, and I think I do too. It was oatmeal, and they like soaked the raisins in either whiskey or bourbon. I can't remember which one. And then there was like a 2-ounce shot, like an ounce or something shot of bourbon in the oatmeal. And it was awesome.
Dang, that sounds good.
It was
so
really
there you
good.
go. I guess it's too early for fuzzy tauntauns, but not too early for bourbon.
Speaking of fuzzy tauntauns there, Evan T. Boucher, last night, kind of off the whim, we were in a little bit of a rush because I had to get back home to do something, so we swung into Oga's real quick, and it was Lily's first trip to Oga's Cantina. So
hey,
Aww.
nice.
Yeah.
Jet juice for Lily, or would you start her out?
No, she slept through the whole thing. I got a fuzzy tauntaun, and
Really?
Courtney got a port. Yeah,
She slept through Oga's?
She
Holy
did.
shit,
It was
dude.
she was tired.
What a trooper.
I know, just the white noise got her. So
That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
Man.
That is awesome.
Can you imagine being Lily and like she's gonna grow up going to Oga's? She's gonna grow up seeing DJ Rex and just that's how she's gonna grow up going to Batu. Like what a life, dude. That's the stuff that we would have killed for.
yeah, but we have the rest of our lives to do it. Yeah, so.
Yeah, we have it now at 30, whatever. But like me as a kid, I would just my mind would have melted.
I know.
My
I get
kids
it.
are so
It already
spoiled,
does,
dude.
but-
My kids are so spoiled with Disney. We didn't even renew their annual passes because they didn't want to go anymore.
Oh God.
I don't blame them. I don't want
It's
to go
so-
much anymore either.
Jeez, boo. It's fun.
You know?
Yeah. We had some great character interactions this past week with
That's the only reason to go anymore.
the
is
animated
characters.
Little Mermaid, and then we checked out the live action one for the first time. I love that map in that room in studios. I was like checking out the map,
cool.
looking for Easter eggs.
Is it glued
What are you
down
talking
yet?
I think so. Yeah.
So in the live action Ariel meet and greet they have at Walt Disney Presents, they have it's a giant room you can meet her in because it used to be where you can meet Sully, so it had to be huge. And in the room they have a table with props and stuff on it, and on the table is a map of Prince Eric's island. And
Oh, cool.
It's awesome.
if you like ask her about it, she'll lead you over there and like give you a little tour of the island using the map and stuff. So
Sweet. I couldn't tell you
Yeah.
the last time I met a character. I think it was probably Darkwing Duck like 6 years ago.
but that is kind of perfect because I wanted to talk a little bit about characters.
well, Evan, I was going to say the last time I met a character before those two, I met Mrs. Incredible.
Yeah, that was one of the last days I was there. So a lot happened over Christmas. A lot of bad, a lot of good. We talked about some of the bad, but I left my job, I used to work at Walt Disney World, actually. I've never announced it on the show. A lot of our listeners met me in the parks, and they didn't know either. They would see me in Batuu, or they would see me with whatever character, and they'd be like, hey, like, I didn't know you worked here, and that's how they found out, because I did want to keep it kind of secret and kind of private for the obvious reasons everyone thinks of, like, oh, I don't want random people being like DMing me, hey, can I have a free ticket? Can you get me in? I didn't want that.
Oh, it's supposed to
but
be
I also
shit when you work there.
Yeah, I did. So I didn't have any of that. So I kept it to a close circle of friends and family. But I also didn't want like the internet crazies to do anything. You know how the internet could be. So yeah, I never really told anyone. But now that I have left and that has passed, I can say that I had a good and kind of a little bit of mixed bag of 2.5 years at Disney. So I finished with characters, being a character attendant. And that's when Tom saw me. This was maybe a month or so ago now with Elastigirl in the little Pixar area.
Why the hell did I say Miss Incredible? Sorry.
Well, she goes by both. She signs Mrs. Incredible, but, you know.
All right, there we go.
And that's why I asked you if the table was glued down with Ariel, or the map was glued down, because when I worked there, I was like, I think the second or third day that she was there, I worked with her.
Oh, cool.
That was like, I walked in and my first question was, are any of these props glued down? Because kids and adults like to grab things and take them. So when we first started with Ariel, nothing was glued down, and it stressed me the heck out.
Yeah.
Thankfully, no one stole anything, but I don't know. Over time, I'm hoping that they glued things down. I know the little jade mermaid they have on the table started not glued, and that did get glued while I was there. So hopefully they glued everything else down, because we can't have nice things because of people.
Well, funny thing is, I didn't even attempt to touch it because I'm an adult. So
you're one of the good people. But I don't think I'm going to start it this week. But soon I am going to start. If y'all are okay with it, having a little segment where I tell a stupid guest story. I have I have no
this
joke.
Is Jedi Talk, Evan.
100 pages of just stupid guest stories where I looked at them and I was like, "Are you really doing that?" And
do you want to give us a preview now? I got to press you for it.
No, I don't have the book here in front of me. It's in the other room, and I'm lazy. I don't want to go get it.
Fair.
So maybe we start it next week. I don't know. We'll come up with a funny, stupid name for it. But my time in Disney Entertainment, because I started in food in Disney, and that was awful. One of the worst experiences of my life. But entertainment, the people I worked with on a daily basis were amazing. And the people I saw once in every blue moon were not so amazing. But the people I worked with daily were awesome. That's not bad. But I will miss, and I've messaged all the people I worked with all the time, and they've messaged me, like, we miss each other. So that was another reason why I could cancel the annual pass and save all that money, was I was getting free tickets. So I'm still going to get free tickets, and I'm not going to get an annual pass, because screw them. But I just don't have it yet. So I am missing going to the parks and seeing all those people I worked with. But as soon as I get those tickets, you best believe I'm going to see all my friends again, and we'll have our meetup stuff rolling, because we have to do some rehearsals for our meetup and get some timing down. But we did finalize, not we, I don't want to say we. Rachel finalized the website.
Yeah, Rachel.
This past week.
Props to Rachel Ashbrook, to our rook.
Without this, I can't speak. Without Rachel, none of this would happen. We'd still be like, man, this would be fun to do. We don't know how to do it. But without Rachel, man, we'd be lost. So she got that website done. We've had so many people overwhelmingly sign up, and the cause filled up, man. All your marketing campaigns and all your dedication paid off.
Remember that fucking conversation we had in the car the other day? Fucking Evan's thinking that the cause was going to fucking lag. Suck it, dick.
Yeah, no, I'm beyond pleasantly surprised.
Me too.
It filled up first. Yeah, like, that's awesome.
It
shows you, man.
It makes me feel like the tide might be changing in the real world, so it makes me feel good.
Dog, you're not wrong.
I'm like, this warms my heart. The cause is going to do it. I can't wait. I'm so excited. So. Yeah,
and we won't say what, but we put a little bit of work into the cause this morning before we started recording.
We did.
So the cause is going all out, my dude. The name of the website's what? Halcyon the Legacy Continues.com.
You got it right.
Yep. Look that up. Go sign up. You can't join the cause unless Tom decides he wants more, but the First Order is open for some more people, and the Resistance is looking for more recruits, so you can join one of those two factions. And then, if you get in with Tom, if you talk to him, maybe slide him a few death sticks under the table, he might be able to join the cause, but that's up to him.
Some spice,
Yeah, some spice. I'm not all about the death stick route, I'm more
That's fair.
spice. Spice is natural, so we should be able to inhale it and do whatever with it.
Yep. But
Shove it
that's
up our ass.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care. It's the whole point of the cause. You want to do it, go for it.
But
Do what
that's
feels
the biggest
right.
update. That's the biggest update with the meetup. We did have a little side meeting with Aaron, one
Right.
of our other. I guess we're calling everyone that's a part of the team that's making it happen NPCs, because we don't want to say actors, because we are not actors.
Nope.
And we're not official Star Wars characters, so we don't really want to say characters. We're kind of like NPCs.
Aren't
So
we?
we had a
though?
meeting.
We've been on the Halcyon. Isn't everybody who's been on the Halcyon like an official Star Wars character?
I'd
could
like
make
to
that
think
argument.
so, but I would love
Not
to
now
think
that
so.
it's dead.
Yeah. You know how Disney operates. We are not allowed to exist and have fun. So, yeah.
Tell us how you really feel, Avant. So, anywho, thank you for all that. And now, before we get into our topic for today, and I'm going to read the email that Obi Steve sent us, a listener who we met on the Halcyon, Evan. Whoo!
Me.
If I start to stroke out, somebody dial 911 for me. Y'all know where I live.
We always have 9-1 ready to go.
Thank you.
In case I start crying
Yeah.
in
I
case.
appreciate that. In continuation of that Simpsons joke. You played Survivor at my place when you were hanging with Raja several weeks
Yes,
ago.
sir.
And
Yes,
I
sir.
want to hear your quick thoughts on Jedi Survivor, because we've talked about it a bunch here. So,
Yeah, no, finally I got to do it, and let me run down the quick notes here. I loved everything about Kobo, everything about building Pyloons.
Ah,
It
Pyloons.
reminded me of Batu and Oga's, but you were part of it. So, you could actually build upon it. That was awesome. Starting from nothing and building it up. And then at the end of the game, when characters started to leave, you kind of felt a little sad, because these were your friends that you made along the way, and they were leaving. That was awesome. That was by far my favorite part of
or
it.
dying.
Or dying, like a Grok, and then
Yeah.
finding Grok's body. I was like, oh, he actually is dead.
Ooh.
Here's his body. Yeah.
And then the 10 times you thought Turgle was dead.
Yeah, and that's another thing, Turgle was like the Jar Jar of Star Wars Survivor. You hate him at the beginning, but at the end of the game, you kind of really love Turgle. So he's coming, the voice actor is coming to MegaCon. Hopefully I can at least see him and be like, I love you, Turgle. Something, as we walk by. But that's what I love. The best part. The worst part of the game were those dumbass puzzles. Cannot stand those puzzles.
Fuck
But
you.
I'm not a gamer. I'm not a gamer.
Which game had worse puzzles, Survivor or Fallen Order?
Fallen Order did.
Fallen Order.
Tougher.
Yeah.
Tougher.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I had to look up how to do every single Fallen Order puzzle, and with Survivor, I only had to look up 60% of them.
I'm so happy I
See,
played Tomb Raider.
I hate them. I hate them, and I played Zelda as a kid growing up a
Yeah.
lot. So I just don't like it in a Star Wars game. That's my only.
I just want the
opinion on it.
story. Yeah, I want to see
Yeah,
what's
I'm
going
with you.
on with the story. I don't want to
with you.
waste my time moving a blue glowing orb 5 feet to the left.
Yeah, I'm the opposite though. I sit there in anger and I'm like, God damn it!
Oh
keep
yeah,
doing it
no,
until get
I
it.
got pissed. But I give up and I look it up because I don't want to
See, I'm
waste
too
my time.
stubborn. I don't give up.
And then I read the comments,
I'll
and everyone
still
else
live for
is in
6
it.
months.
They're like me. No, yeah, that's what people say. They're like, man, I'm so glad you posted this video because it took me 4 years to figure it out. I'm like, me too. But I loved all of the High Republic stuff, especially after just finishing 3 or 4 High Republic books over the summer. I was really going into the High Republic. So seeing all that stuff with Z and all the architecture. And then when you do get to Tanalorr, if you find one of those Force Echoes, they mention the freaking Nile. They talk about the Nile. How cool is that? Because they were the ones that were attacking, what's their names now? Dagan Gera and
yeah.
Centauri Kree. I love Centauri. I kind of want more on
Centauri Kree's fucking cool. Yeah, I like that character a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So all the High Republic stuff was awesome. Back to something I hated was those damn chickens that would just kill you in one hit.
The murder chickens.
Those were so stupid. It shouldn't be a thing. That should not exist.
Those things are fucking awesome.
That's a Zelda trope, man.
Yeah.
I hate it. Well,
Zelda,
I've
Ocarina of
never
Time,
played
you
those
attack
stupid
chickens and they
Zelda.
kill you.
I would just be walking around and they would just come out of nowhere, and it was literally one hit. And I'm not. It was one hit, and this was on story mode, one hit. So I can't imagine Grand Jedi Master level, Grand Master. I mean, one hit probably makes you restart the whole game. I don't know.
It sends you back to Coruscant.
Hey, yeah.
To be fair to Zelda, you have to like attack the chickens first, and then they attack you back.
No, yeah, these animals.
These things are
don't.
like
They just
perpetually
they don't
pissed.
care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Murdered chickens.
Yeah, they're murder chickens. Like you're walking and like I swear to God, I was in the game once on Kobo and I was just walking around because I was towards the end and like the murder chicken was like 500 feet over to the right and he like heard me and you just saw him take a U-turn. He just starts running at me.
Yep.
And it took him like 20 seconds to get to me, but he was so pissed.
Yep. I'm like, I don't know what I did to you guys, but fine, I guess. Oh man. But I did love building I can't speak. The cantina up, and then you find those like weird looking fancy people, I don't know, and they bring you the holo tactics table, so you get to play some holo
that's
tactics.
Fun. Yeah. Oh yeah, the ones you save.
Yeah, are the murder chickens a part of the holo tactics? I never used
them
if they were.
They absolutely are.
Oh, I would have just won if I used them every time. What the hell? But if you don't use the murder chickens, use the Skriton. That thing is unkillable. So use that.
Not always.
That was pretty.
Some of the Empire's assassin droids can take those out fairly easily.
Really? Okay.
Did you make it through all of the holotactics, people?
No, I only beat about half of them.
Okay, it gets fucking tough as hell at the end. So.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did like the 4 easiest people, so yeah, I bet it does.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Of course, we've talked about it a lot off air too, but like Bode, man, I get it the more you tell me about it, but Bode should not take 5 hours to kill. He's just a guy. Man, like Cal fought Vader, he's fought Trilla, and like he gets just a guy and he's impossible to kill. But we've talked about it, so I'm starting to get it. Like you said, Cal, the character, doesn't want to just murder Kata's father in front of her. So like he's trying not to. So I get it. Like structure it differently then. So he's not the end of the game. Because like you said, and it makes sense how gameplay and storytelling works, where the hardest thing is at the end or something.
Sure.
But
yeah.
like, in terms of hard bosses, he shouldn't be because of like he's just a guy. So structure it so maybe the seer fight is at the end or something. So it's Vader at the end. I don't know. But
I disagree, but yeah.
I loved the Vader fight. That was awesome. Like I have no complaints with the Vader fight, but I just hated how Bode was just a guy, but it was like wasting my life fighting some random dude.
Oh my God.
But I did love Rick, the door technician. He's the best boss of all time. Is there an inside joke there I'm missing?
No, I have no idea. He just shows up.
I have no idea. Okay, I love that though.
Brad, do you know who Rick, the door technician, is?
No.
Okay. So he's just this random scout trooper on board this area, and he just rolls up like a boss in the game. He gets a health bar, and his name is Rick the Door Technician, and he just starts attacking you.
On the screen, it'll say Rick the Door Technician. So like that's his name.
Yeah. So he's super easy to kill, but it's just like this random fucking thing. Everybody loves it. And I just remember
you even get like a skill point too for killing him. Like just like a normal boss.
Is that a Matt the radar technician fucking?
Oh,
reference?
I hope so.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. I love
Could
it.
be, yeah.
I don't care. I don't care what it is. I just love it. It was funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best SNL sketch of the last 20 years.
Agreed.
Yeah, dude.
At least
both
for
of
me.
them. I like the first one better, but still, both of them are good.
Did I ever tell you guys the story that I think it was Horatio Sands, what he actually wrote and wanted to do for that scene, and they wouldn't let him do it?
No.
So he'd said on a podcast, I forget which podcast it was, but I heard this when it was going around. And what they initially wanted to have as part of the sketch was a shot of 2 stormtroopers like mopping up the floor. And as they're mopping up the floor, Han Solo's body falls down and splats, and they're like, "God damn it!"
Why wouldn't they do that? It's not like it's too far. Like it's Saturday Night Live. Like
I think it was because it would have been spoilery, because it was around the time The Force Awakens came out, if I remember correctly.
Okay, that's fair.
And I think they didn't want to do it for spoiler reasons because it was like kind of soon, either right before or after. But I could be wrong on that, but I think that was why. It could have also just been that it was bloody. I don't remember what his explanation was, but that story just has always stuck with me. It's so fucking funny.
That's pretty great. But my last few things on Survivor was, we've talked about it too, but the whole Ravis fight, I don't think that's how a Gundai would really go out, but that's the first time we've officially seen it in canon aside from a comic book. So it is what it is. But I love Ravis as a character, and I love the connections to the Hidden Path. Freaking Marin basically started the Hidden Path that we find in Kenobi. So without Marin, none of that happens. Without Seer, none of that happens. And now without Cal, because Cal is continuing the path. Yep. So that's one of the coolest connections in the game. And I really liked, like I said, the saloon building. But if you would have told me gardening would have been one of my favorite things, I wouldn't have believed you. But I really loved gardening on the roof. That was awesome. But I'm really hoping the third one continues this, because it was still a great game. I think I like the story of the first one better, but the second game was still amazing. So I'm hoping the third one can finalize this trilogy of just awesomeness. And
I think it will.
I think we mentioned in the past that awesome name would be Jedi Master.
Sure.
It goes Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, and then Jedi Master. I think that'd be perfect.
Absolutely.
Cal being the master for Kata, Marin kind of being a little bit of a master for Kata. I mean, Cal's had a couple masters. Seer's kind of been a master. Eno a little bit. Obviously, Gyro to Paul. So master's kind of a huge thing in the storyline.
Yeah.
So
Sure
I'm
is.
definitely looking forward to that third game.
Me too, and we'll be all over it when it eventually comes out. But if that's all you have on Survivor, we've got a great topic from our good buddy Obi Steve, who we've conversed with and mentioned on the show before. So you guys mind if I read the email real quick, and then we can just jump right into the topic? Sound good?
Yes, sir.
All right, so here we go. Before I get into that, you mentioned MegaCon. So I need to tell you guys who I bought the photo op with on top of Ewan. So
right, there's a ton of people coming. It's hard to pick.
Yeah, the one and only. Speaking of Survivor, Cal Kestis, Cameron Monaghan decided that he's coming to MegaCon. So of course I had to buy a photo op with him. And I just placed the order for his Jedi Talk T-shirt while we were on the podcast. So
that's so cool.
It should have been a poncho. What are you doing? Make it a poncho.
I don't have that much money, Evan.
Jedi Talk poncho.
Does he sign anything? Can you take a lightsaber, maybe?
Oh, I would have to buy an autograph. Yeah, but I decided to go for the picture. I'm going to put Obi-Wan's next to Hayden's and then Cal's next to them. So
yeah, dude.
I'm going to have to look at the list and see who's all available, because I might have to do one of these. I've never done one of these meet and greets.
Do it.
Ming-Na Wen's coming, man. Like,
is Mark Hamill coming? Do we know?
He's the only one they haven't said.
He's about the only one I haven't announced, but I don't know if he's coming. Like, that's such a big name. You'd wait till the end? I mean, who else? I mean, Tom Hiddleston's here, too, for God's sake. This thing's stacked already.
Cool.
I mean, Doc Brown, freaking Back to the Future, and then his character in Mandalorian, I forget the name of. So that's a twofer. Like, Ming-Na Wen is a twofer. Mulan and Fennec Shand.
Charles Soule.
Charles Soule. I'm bringing my book with me. So if I just happen to see him, I'm gonna be like, Charles, can you? Or if there's a line to get in, I'm like, can you sign?
I think
you
might have
to do it in advance.
Buy advance, yeah. All this stuff is advanced. So just go to MegaCon's website and look. Yeah.
They do it that way because they don't want cash. And that's like a liability.
That's fair.
Blah, blah, blah.
Totally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I can't wait to see the figure selection.
Dude, I know.
I know. Like the merchandise, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do any meet and greet so I can save for merchandise. I don't even know.
I just wish this was March instead of February.
I wish it was a year from now so I had more time to save.
It'll be next year's MegaCon.
It'll be next year. Start saving.
Fair. But that one won't be my first. This is my first,
It is.
First time to be a memorable time, and
it's going to be a memorable one.
It's
going to be a memorable one.
It's going to be memorable.
Oh, it will be. Oh, yeah. We can't talk about why yet, but it will be.
It will be.
Oh, yes, it will be. All right.
Tom has COVID.
Apparently.
Oh, no. That's the new variant. You can transfer it over Skype now.
It's the THC variant. So, hey.
We want to talk about the Lucasfilm announcements that are crazy?
No, we got to talk about Obi Steve.
Obi Steve first, and then crazy Lucasfilm?
Go ahead and do Lucasfilm.
You can do the quick news and then we will main topic of Obi Steve here.
All right, we got Mando and Grogu coming to the big screen. That was like a week ago it was announced, but does this replace Mando Season 4? What do you guys think?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah. I think Disney is slowly backing out of Disney Plus, if you want my opinion. I don't think it's going anywhere because I think it's going to be a place where their entire library can live. But I think you're going to see them really stop putting money into original content. I think that's part of the reason they released Mando on Blu-ray, which I completely forgot even existed and need to go buy that immediately.
I know. If you see it, grab it, and I'll pay you back.
Okay. Yeah, I need to get that, and it might be on Amazon. It's probably on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
But I just have a feeling that Disney Plus didn't kind of. It started really strong, but after Mando, a lot of people unsubscribed to watch Mando, and then they kind of resubscribe when it comes back out. I don't know, man. I'm worried about that because I think that as much as I didn't love any of the Star Wars content that was, except Mando, TV shows, like I didn't love anything. A lot of it was really good, but like nothing I'm like, oh my God, yes, it was so great. Even Obi-Wan fell flat. So like, I don't know. I think I like Star Wars movies. I think it's just more fun for me to get the build up of the movie and like the hype surrounding it and getting excited for trailers and that kind of thing. And I don't feel the same hype around the TV shows that I do the movies. So I'm okay with it. This is something that I called a long time ago.
This galaxy is only as sick as its secrets. You have sought freedom through the Fulcrum. The Fulcrum has seen the truth.
We are not yet lost for the cause!
Join the cause.
All right, so the email we got from Obi Steve, who we met on our podcast, or not podcast, geez, we introduced him to Jedi Talk on our second Halcyon voyage. Hey, Tom, listening to your last Jedi Talk podcast. Now, this was months ago, and we were really busy with some guests and other things, so I wanted to give it a proper topic, which we're doing today. I was just as flabbergasted by the guy who says that all people aren't Star Wars fans if they like the sequel trilogy. Thinking about this issue gave me a topic idea for Jedi Talk. Let me take you down my rabbit hole for a second, let you know where it came from. If someone was ever destined to be an original only guy, it should be me. I was 10 when the original Star Wars film came out, which started a lifelong fascination with space-oriented sci-fi. For me, everything is judged against the original Star Wars movie. My first sci-fi theater experience, which should give me a bias toward the original films. However, where I differ from the naysayers on the sequels is that I took the time to read the canon books and watch the TV series to get the backstories. Once you have the backstories, the sequels are incredibly rich. Once you know the backstories, such as Poe Dameron and the Spice Runners of Kijimi, Luke and Lando looking for Lando's daughter, the hunt of Ochi of Bestoon, the relationship between Leia and Mon Mothma, that bitch, the origins of the Resistance, the aftermath of Endor for the Empire, and the birth of the First Order, the sequels come alive. For instance, knowing that Ahsoka left her lightsaber behind at the end of the Clone Wars when she had a moral dilemma lends credence to Luke not wanting his saber in Episode 8. That feels good seeing somebody write that out. I was lukewarm on Episode 9 when I first watched it, but after reading the related books to get the motivations of all the characters, I love it. Sequel Trilogy has very deep character arcs, and if you spend the time to know the characters, this makes the Sequel Trilogy a much deeper viewing experience than the George Lucas-made prequel trilogy and has more stories to tell than the original trilogy. All that to say, I agree with you that there are people who don't spend the time to know the stories into it, have no room to accuse those of us who do not as being fans. So it's like, if you don't spend the time like we do, you can't accuse us of not being fans. This leads me to the requested Jedi Talk topic, gentlemen. What are your top insights from books and TV series that made the sequel trilogy movies even more enjoyable?
I love that idea too.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to
great topic.
read and watch everything, but if you do, it does make everything better. So, and we are some of those people that do watch everything, and we try to read a lot. It's impossible to read everything, but I think between the three of us, we have read the majority of Star Wars canon. Not all, because it's impossible, but I would say the majority.
Yeah, give or take. I'll start there, reading.
Big majority, especially for me back in the day. I was reading every single Star Wars book.
Yeah.
Some of them were audio books, but
right.
That counts. You consume that media, so it counts.
Yeah. So for me, the biggest takeaways have been two books in particular. Well, actually three, but one's a negative takeaway. I would say that the book Resistance Reborn has so many of these little character details in it. I know Evan's not a huge fan of this book. Have you ever read it, Tom?
No, I have it, but I haven't read it yet.
I don't even remember it.
It's so good. There's so many little details about who's related to who, and there's some characters that are original trilogy characters that are related to characters that are in the Resistance. And I don't want to spoil it because it's a really cool reveal when it finally happens, so I'm not going to spoil it. But that book in and of itself is like an incredible example of how rich they can be and how detailed the characters are once you get into it.
Yeah, I think another good example of that is another book that also was not that great was Aftermath, and how that's one where we get a little bit of like Snap, right? Is he in Aftermath? Like a kid Snap? I want to say Snap Wexley.
Yeah, Snap Wexley is also in Resistance Reborn as like a main character.
Yeah. So I think it's like Kid Snap in Aftermath.
I think you're right. But
and
Cobb Vanth comes from Aftermath.
Yeah. But that's another one where you learn more about like Snap and the planet he's from and his family that he's a part of. Like you said, I don't know if we want to spoil it, but like
don't spoil it. Go read it.
So Aftermath has some good stuff in it. Like you said, Cobb Vanth isn't even part of the story. He's like a little side story that they jump in for. But like the main story does kind of revolve a little bit around like Race Sloan, I want to say. She's kind of big in that book. I love that stuff. She's cool. I bought a Lego set that has that figure in it just for that figure because it's the only place to get her is that set. So she's dope.
Really cool.
And she kind of leads into some of the Imperial Remnant story, which is going on, which is going to help to this building of the First Order that we've been slowly given over Mando and Ahsoka and, all this other stuff that we keep getting. So the Snap stuff and the Empire stuff is good in Aftermath. So there's a lot of good stuff in terms of like the building of the First Order and like the Imperial Remnant and the Resistance connections to the Rebellion, because like Snap has some connections to the Rebellion and that kind of stuff. So it's good to see that transitional period of Rebellion versus Empire to Resistance versus First Order, because names change, but things are the same, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Yep. Another book that has just an incredible canon connection for lots of reasons is Leia, Princess of Alderaan.
Crossover.
Okay, good.
I haven't got there yet. Yeah, I want to read that one.
You haven't read Princess Leia?
No, I still need to do that. That was going to be next, but I got Ahsoka for Christmas, so I'm reading Ahsoka now. So dude, I'm going to go Leia next, and then I'm going to go Bloodlines too, because I got to do Bloodlines.
I think I have both of those books on audiobook if you want my Audible login.
Okay. I'm an old school guy. I like to use my fairly good talent of kind of trying to read. I'm still learning, so I try to figure it out as I go.
Leia, Princess of Alderaan, man, is just... I'll let Tom take it away, but that book, I think I recommended it to you, Tom.
Yeah, that was one of the few you recommended at first. I think I had reached out, and then when I got that, it was one of the ones that I had listened to on my drive to Florida, from Arizona to Florida, and this book, and I just listened to Light of the Jedi before that. So I'm like, okay, Light of the Jedi was great, and then Leia, Princess of Alderaan made Light of the Jedi look like pig crap in comparison.
Wow, it's that good?
Well, when you listen to them back to back, Light of the Jedi was fantastic, but for whatever reason, Leia, Princess of Alderaan connected with me on like a deeper level.
Okay.
Just the way, and this aids to Steve's question. This helped me connect The Last Jedi and almost affirm it as my favorite Star Wars movie, even though I was feeling that way. But like, she meets Holdo. Well, we've said this before. You don't care, Evan. Or should we
you can spoil it.
Okay,
I probably already know, so that's okay.
Yeah, we've said these things multiple times, but her meeting Holdo, there's a huge scene in here that Leia's first love interest, I can't remember his name, like it's Kef, something like I might be wrong. He dies on his way to represent Alderaan and like blab about the rebels, but to and his whole point of going there is so he can save Alderaan from like certain death, because they were figuring out that Alderaan was part of this rebel string. So it basically, and I'm not doing it service, and it aids to the whole fact in A New Hope too. And I know we're talking about the sequels, but it gives credence to the sequels, gives credence to Crate while telling an original trilogy story, if that makes sense. Like everything is solidly connected. You'll see, and it
ties in so well with Last Jedi too. It's like the perfect book.
It is. It is a perfect book, and like I said, meeting Holdo, Leia's doing all of these like trials to on her day of demand to basically take over. So it gives more, power behind General Leia Organa, who's on Crate, which she discovers in this book. Also, just another reason why I love this book. This really doesn't connect too much to the sequels, unless it kind of tells Leia why she's not so extremist. But she's like barely survived an attack by Saw Gerrera's partisans on Naboo.
Oh wow, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Saw Gerrera's people kill Panaka. The full name. He was loyal to Naboo, and then he kind of became loyal to the Empire. And he was figuring out that Leia was Padme's daughter because he saw it in her face because he spent so much time with Padme before she had passed. So he was going to tell the Empire about it, but he died in the blast from Saw Gerrera. So basically, effectively saving Leia's ass.
Dang, that's cool.
Yeah. So fantastic book.
Another book like that, which the book I'm going to say ties into the originals, but then there's another book that I'm going to say after that ties this book and the originals to the sequels, if you can follow that train, is Lost Stars. Lost Stars makes the originals even better. I love Lost Stars because it gives so much detail and story to people that are living and working within the Empire and within the Rebellion that are just regular people, and that's one of the many things that makes Star Wars awesome is that you can just have stories about regular people, because a lot of us, especially now that we have Galaxy's Edge and we had the Star Cruiser, wanted to live stories as regular people in the universe. So Lost Stars does that with two characters that are on each side of the Rebellion versus the Empire. And then in Princess and the Scoundrel, you get these characters from Lost Stars that made the originals better in Princess and the Scoundrel, as they helped with the Battle of Endor, and they helped with the Rebellion and the Empire. And they're now in this transitional book, Princess and the Scoundrel, that makes the sequels better, because we get so much Han and so much Leia. This is one of the best moments in the book. So if you haven't read Princess and the Scoundrel, I don't want to spoil it, but I'm going to say it here, so don't listen if you don't want to know. Leia is on Endor, and the party's going on with the Ewoks, and she's like goes off on her own path, and she comes across Luke's also left at this point to do some stuff, so Leia comes across the remains of the funeral pyre of Vader in Vader's helmet, and she just like,
hold on, the Force letter there, we should mention that. Yeah. And this is how she kind of discovers a little bit about herself and the Force, and she has like this internal conversation about like how she hates her father, and she acknowledges that Vader is her father and how she hates him, how she can never forgive him, how she doesn't accept him as her father, all this stuff. And it's like, you get to see Leia in the movies and stuff. She's always portrayed as, she's pretty perfect and, doesn't really have like a dark side, but like we know she's human. Everyone does. So to see that side of her is incredible, and to see that connection there to lead. Also, she talks to Luke, and the whole book she's conflicted. She's like, should I do politics? Should I go with Luke and be a Jedi, do Force stuff? And then it's like, how would that affect my family if I do Force stuff? How does it affect my family if I stay in politics? So this time, Ben isn't around, but later in the sequels, especially in Episode 9 and other books and stuff, we find out that Leia left politics to do some Jedi stuff, but then she left working with Luke because she thought going down the Jedi path would lead to the death of Ben Solo, her son. So, like, Princess and the Scoundrel starts that whole train of thought of Leia being conflicted in terms of light side, dark side, but also conflicted of politics, Jedi, what should I do? So to see that kind of begin there and just kind of go forward. And it also, like you said, in a different book about Mon Mothma is big in the beginning of Princess and the Scoundrel, because she basically forces Leia and Han to take the honeymoon aboard the Star Cruiser just as like a political stunt. She's like, you two just go on this vacation, on this honeymoon. It's going to make it look so good for the Rebellion. Mm-hmm. It's going to make it look like everything's perfect in the galaxy. We won. There's no more Empire. So it shows, too, like how the New Republic is being set up in these sequels.
of just like how they're not so perfect either. And we're seeing that now in The Mandalorian and stuff like that. So we're seeing these kind of seeds being planted in these books and in these TV shows.
I need to read that book. I didn't read it because I assumed it was just a Halcyon advertisement in a way.
Yeah, a lot of people did, but it's not.
Yeah, I need to, which I'm fine with. But like at the time, I was trying not to do too much reading about the Halcyon when that book came out because I didn't want to know too much. And you don't know what's in a book till you read it. So I need to go back and
most of it doesn't even take place aboard the Halcyons. Most of it takes place in a different setting. But obviously, the stuff on the Star Cruiser is awesome, and I love it. But that wasn't the best part of the book to me. The best part of the book was the Leia stuff and the Han stuff, because it even goes into Han's internal conversation of how he lost an entire year of his life being frozen in carbonite. He's like, I don't know how to think about this. I lost a whole year. When people like Luke could move on and go from this like whiny farm kid to this confident, strong Jedi, and how Leia can change so much too. And he's like, I really haven't changed because I was frozen for a year. So to see Han kind of go through that also kind of leads to how Han is in the sequels, how he kind of reverts back to his old self. He leaves Leia, he leaves Ben, he goes back to be with Chewie and smuggling because that's all he really knows. And some of that could be connected to losing a year of his life when everyone else changed around him and he couldn't change because he was frozen.
It's a good take. I never really even thought about that. Like telling that story. That's awesome.
I never thought about that until Princess and the Scoundrel. I was like, yeah, he was frozen for a year. It's insane.
Yeah, it just goes to Steve's point. All of these books that we're saying, they tell, let's call them original trilogy tales that build to what these characters did and the decisions they make that laid the foundation for the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
So
another book like that for me was Bloodlines. And you had a moment with the captain on the Halcyon because of this book. I did. Told the story before, but go ahead and tell it again.
Yeah. This was the pivotal moment that changed lives for Ryan. Literally on the Halcyon, when the captain reminded me that Mon Mothma was the one that ousted Leia out of the Senate, and I said, "God damn, you're right." So Leia's not as incompetent as my character believed her to be at that moment. So,
yeah, dude. The more we learn about Mon Mothma, the more she is not the best person ever.
Well, when she was selling her daughter off there, that was a pretty bad start.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that was, in Andor, we see that she sucks. We see in Ahsoka that she kind of sucks. We see in Princess and the Scoundrel that she kind of sucks.
Yep.
So I wish
she was a politician, bro. She sucks.
Yeah. Yep. It might be out there somewhere, but I'm not sure how her story ends. Maybe if she dies before the sequels and it's canon, and I don't know that, maybe that's why. But I do want to know why she's not in the movies. Like, what happened? So maybe she does die. Or maybe she hasn't yet, but we're going to find out in the new TV shows or movies that she does die before the sequel movies. And that's why she's not in the movies.
She might in Ahsoka, season 2.
Yeah. Because, there's got to be a reason why.
Movie.
Yeah.
Maybe
there's got to be a reason why a big rebellion leader who's not a huge character, but she's in Return of the Jedi and kind of a big leader. And then we see her in all the other, Rogue One, all these other media. And she's just gone for the sequels, especially because you have the actress who's still, she did Rogue One, which was made during the sequels. So the actress is there. So there's got to be a reason why she wasn't in the sequels.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if she gets ousted or something. Like a lot of, in Bloodlines, they find out that Vader is Leia's father, and she gets ousted from the Senate because basically, in their eyes, she's space Hitler too.
Yeah.
So I get it. It's justifiable response to some degree. I mean, you're not responsible for what your people did, but that is your bloodline. So I get it. I don't think anyone would be comfortable if Hitler's daughter was in charge of Germany right now. You know what I mean? I don't think anyone would be.
I'm voting for Leia Hitler.
Yeah.
I'm not punching that hole.
My name is Stephanie Hitler. I know what my father did, but it is not how I plan on running things.
Oh no! Yeah,
that would not fly. You know what I mean?
Not punching that hole. I don't care.
Yeah.
I know what hole I will punch. Get Cosmo on the phone.
Hey, that's the first one of this show. Look at that.
God.
We are off our game today.
I think I've made
Kyle's mom's jokes today.
I think I've made a resolution for 2024 to do less Kyle's mom jokes.
Wow, look at that. Growth. You heard it here first. Growth on the show.
Yeah.
Another book, though, for me, which had a lot of great parts, but then not a lot of great parts, especially around the titular character, was Phasma.
Titular.
Now, like, the book Phasma, you think would be the
So
best
immature.
part. Would be Phasma.
That growth went back really quickly.
It did.
That Phasma book sucked, bro. I did not like
The
it.
stuff around Phasma sucks. The stuff
Yeah.
around Vi and Cardinal and Hux,
The
amazing.
book's called Phasma.
That's
and the
what
most
I'm saying,
interesting
though.
Stuff
Yep.
has nothing to do with Captain Phasma.
Yep, and that's what I'm saying. So, like, if we're talking about what makes the sequels better, you would think that the Phasma stuff would, but it really doesn't. It doesn't help that character at all. But the Hux stuff and the Cardinal stuff, Cardinal's not in the movie, sadly. Neither is Vi. But through Cardinal and Vi, we find so much out about Hux. Like, this is the book this is a big spoiler. So if you haven't read it yet, don't listen to this here. But a spoiler for Phasma is the Hux that we see in the sequels, who is Armitage, is the son of Brendel Hux, who we see in The Mandalorian talking to Moff Gideon. And Brendel Hux has Armitage Hux killed to further advance himself in the First Order. And Phasma's in on the deal, and Cardinal, who's in Phasma, finds out about the deal. And that's when Phasma kind of turns on Cardinal, and this is what kind of plants the seeds of Cardinal turning to leave the First Order to help Vi set up the Resistance in Black Spire Outpost on Batuu, which we see in the book Black Spire. So the whole Hux storyline makes Hux a better character, and then it shows more what's going on in the First Order, and hopefully we can see some of that with the Shadow Council and the Mandalorian and the Imperial Remnant for more of that transition period. But just that detail about Hux there was just so insane to see. It was really kind of chilling, especially because you get to see Brendel Hux, the dad of General Hux, build this relationship with Cardinal and with Phasma over time. And you see how he and the First Order works, where they don't.
That stuff with his dad is crazy, dude.
Yeah, like he doesn't really care about Cardinal anymore. He replaces like his quote like best friend, even though they're not really friends, obviously, and like right hand man. He just throws Cardinal to the side for the newest next best thing, a Phasma. So like he's willing to just basically discard one guy to give Phasma this new job, and then the same with his son. His son is willing to discard his own dad just to advance himself in the First Order. So that kind of stuff just builds more upon the characters of the sequels and the thought process of the First Order, how everybody works in that organization.
The sequels are incredibly rich, just like Steve said. But just like people just don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the homework, I feel like.
I think the reason is because even when I was a kid, there were video games for that time period. They're not canon now, but at the time that wasn't really like a concern. Like Shadows of the Empire. I think it's just people don't have the time the older you get to put hours and hours and hours into stuff. Most people don't have time to do that. I think if they were kids and, you put us, Star Wars fans as kids now, I'd be eating everything up. I'd be like happiest I've ever been as a Star Wars fan. There's so much to consume now.
Yeah.
It's really close to what it used to be.
That's the more logical reason, and I think you're right too. But one of the illogical reasons that I'm sure people give too is like how they read all of those old books that are now called Legends. They're just so pissed off that their Legends are gone. They're like not wanting to read the new canon. So we have that also going on, which is just like, if you loved reading all the books back then, read the books now. Like,
get over it.
Books are still good.
They had to do that because if they didn't, like, stuff like contradicted, like that, you would have had to pick and choose, and it was so smart for them to just reset canon and go just the movies and a few TV shows at the time were canon. It was one of the best decisions I think Kathleen Kennedy made as a Star Wars, overseer.
Yeah, 100%.
That was a genius move.
And they're bringing in things from Legends almost every day anymore, where it's like, okay, that thing that was a good thing in Legends, people like it, and it's also good. We're going to bring it into canon. So, like,
there's literally a comic book where Chewie gets crushed to death by a moon. There's literally a comic book where Han Solo discovers Indiana Jones or vice versa, and they think that Chewie is Sasquatch because they landed on Earth. Like, people have this rose-colored shit of, you know, I always call it the Saturday Night Live effect, where like everything used to be way better, but everyone says that every 5 years. You kick it back 5 years down the line, but at the time, no one's paying attention to it. But it doesn't really apply because now Saturday Night Live actually genuinely sucks. But you know, everyone has that.
Unless
Saturday
Adam
Night Live
Driver's
is so
on.
much better.
When Adam's on, it's awesome.
Yeah, but like everyone has that thing where like, SNL was the conveniently it was the best when you were watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
Like people say
That's
that
fair.
about the Chris Farley, they say about Will Ferrell, they say, you know, that it's the same thing. Like you're already seeing people go like, man, The Last Jedi was great. It's like, yeah, we've been saying that shit since the day it came out. We're not saying anything new.
Yeah, we have been.
And we've seen it with the prequels too, and not like side tangent.
Yeah.
Like the prequels are
People forget, man.
25 years old. Phantom Menace
Dog.
was in 99. And like Lego is doing the 25 years of Lego Star Wars this year with the Phantom Menace. So there's going to be sets that are like 25-year Phantom Menace sets. And people are just freaking out saying like how much they've loved the prequels. And I'm like, you didn't when it came out.
No,
Just because it's 25 years old, you like it.
there was that whole thing. George Lucas raped my childhood. Like, remember all that shit?
So, I
Like,
remember when South Park made fun of that.
But that was just people. Like, people were going and shitting on it. And it's like, y'all forget, man.
They're awful takes.
The prequel hate is way more predominant than the sequel hate, even with social media.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like people forget, man. Like these rose-colored glasses people have on about like how everything was great when George Lucas was around. Yo, he sold it for a fucking reason.
Yeah.
Money.
He said he was tired. No, he said he was tired of people shitting on everything he did. That too. But he said he was just tired of people shitting on everything, and he's like, it's just not fun to do because everyone bitches about everything.
Yeah. I forget the name of the book, but the book that also helped, maybe it was a comic, I think it was, that helps with the Rose and Paige relationship and those characters too.
Yes.
Is that a comic?
Yes, it's
because I wanted to get back with the book. Was that just the Age of Resistance?
Age of Resistance, yeah. It was the Age of series. I think I have all of those.
I have a few comics I could mention. So are we done with like actual books before?
Sure. Yeah,
okay.
we could wrap it up with a few more stuff.
Yeah, so I wanted to get back with the books and stuff, but if we don't have any more novels and books, there's the Age of Resistance, which made Rose and Paige so much better to see their dynamic and their relationship. So like when Paige is killed at the beginning of The Last Jedi, it actually means something,
right?
You know, which I mean, it means something because you find out later in the movie that it's Rose's sister, but it's more meaningful when you have time with Paige and with Rose. You get to see everything that's going on with them. So it just makes those two characters better, makes that moment better. So that's one of the great comics for that. And I mean, I'm biased because I love Kylo Ren. He's my favorite character. But the Rise of Kylo Ren, that comic series,
yep,
that comic is amazing.
It adds so much to my favorite character, but also just to the sequels.
I think that's a great point out. Obi Steve, like the Rise of Kylo Ren is a must read for people who at least enjoy the sequels a little bit. Yeah,
because you get more on the Knights. You get the Knights of Ren and how they started with someone else leading them before Kylo, and you get all of that. And then we get some connections with Luke and Ben Solo. They encounter the Knights of Ren together, so there's that history there. And then we get to see Ben kind of turn, we do see him turn from Ben to Kylo, and we get that introduction of Brad's character he created of Ty Verasi. So Lucasfilm liked this idea, and they used it. So Luke comes back to the temple, which we see in The Last Jedi, and this we've talked about it before, months, maybe years ago, but it's weird how like in the comic it doesn't exactly line up with the book or the movie of Last Jedi of how the temple is burned. Because like the movie makes it sound like it's Kylo, because Kylo tells Rey, he's like, I did it. But then the comic makes it look like it's the Knights of Ren. So I don't know if that's intentional, or I don't know how that kind of played out. But
does the comic make it look like the Knights of Ren?
Yeah.
Or does Evan want it to be wanted?
No,
it's both.
It's definitely
both.
the Knights of Ren.
In the comic, it's the Knights of Ren that do it.
Okay.
And that's the version I see it as. I still see it as Kylo joined the Knights of Ren, but the Knights of Ren had destroyed the temple, and that's the moment he joins them. But also in this in this comic series, we see Snoke, and the place he's in at the time was like whatever, just kind of a creepy, cool thing. But then the High Republic Phase 1 came out, and we got Into the Dark, where they go to the Amaxine Station. And that's the same station where Snoke is in the Rise of Kylo Ren comics. So it's so cool to see, like, the Amaxine Station is like a heavy, heavy dark side location. It's so influenced by the dark side in the High Republic time. Mm-hmm. So then to see Snoke setting up a base there and kind of living there by himself, and Ben goes to see him there before he turns to Kylo, that makes the sequels and the High Republic connected and so much better, because it just shows that Ben kind of had Snoke in his ear and the Knights of Ren in his ear, and then he went to the Maxine Station, which is just like Dark Side Central, basically. Mm-hmm. So to have those connections, it makes Ben even better. It makes Snoke better. So that Rise of Kylo Ren, like we said, is like essential viewing for sequels. I feel like you have to.
Must.
Yeah.
Dude, I want to say this real quick, too. I always took Kylo saying that to Rey is like his manipulation of her to try to make him seem more dark-sidey, because more of like he's she's always like, you're a monster. He's like, yes, I am. I always felt like that was him playing into it.
Yeah, I could see that. It makes sense. And until proven otherwise, I'm with you too. I think in the movie, he's not saying that truthfully he burned down the temple and destroyed the temple. He's saying that he did it to look impressive. And like you're saying, to kind of sway Rey into being like, you're so powerful, I need to join you. So he's not saying the Knights of Ren didn't do it. He's just not telling Rey the truth.
Sure.
So,
yeah, that's how I took it.
Okay.
Cool. This is a fun episode, man.
Yeah, really fun episode.
Well, that's the last of reading. But if you really, really want to get more, I defend it. I think it has good points.
Don't you dare say. Don't you dare say resistance.
I say resistance. You got to find the points. You got to find the points. But we see Hux's speech on Starkiller Base from The Force Awakens from a different perspective, and this just shows it's like stormtroopers watching this holocom of Hux's speech, and they're like having a party. They're like celebrating that, yeah, we're about to murder millions of people. It's like, it's kind of creepy for a kid's show, And that, like, Clone Wars, it has some kid stuff, but I wouldn't call it a kid show. Rebels has kid stuff, but I wouldn't call it a kid show. 99% of Resistance is kid stuff. I would call it a kid show, but this moment is like it's not a kid show. It's showing these guys celebrating the fact that their Hitler guy is about to go blow up a whole planet system of planets, and they're celebrating it. And sadly, they go back on it where his parents aren't really dead, but in this moment, Kaz is watching and he thinks his parents are dying in front of him. So that is dark. And we're getting more of his parents in the TV shows. We had his dad in Ahsoka, and his dad's not a great person either. Maybe he puts a hit on Mon Mothma or something. Maybe he's why Mon Mothma is killed. But that moment in Resistance makes that moment even darker, to see these guys celebrating just a genocide in front of, they don't care, they're just celebrating it. That's really dark. And it later too in season 2, we get the characters that I'm really kind of into as the Relic Raiders, but that ties into episode 9, where in the title crawl, sadly that's about the only place we get it, but it mentions how Kylo is like hunting down everything he can, any threat to his power, anything to make himself stronger. And that's what these Relic Raider characters are doing. They're hunting down Force relics to take to Kylo to make him stronger. So it's connecting to episode 9 in that small way, which I wish we had more of, but I'll take any connection I can get like that. So those 2 moments in Resistance, I think, make the sequels even better.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Even though you never shut up about Resistance, that's fair.
Also fair.
All right, guys. Well,
he's the guy that watched it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. He watched it. I started a few episodes, but I just never got back to it. So thanks, Obi Steve. That was a great topic. If you want to get us pissed off about the sequels and to submit a topic, you know where to hit us up. But if y'all don't have anything else, we will reconvene in person next week, as long as Brad is COVID negative and he's not spreading the vid anymore. we'll do that. And then, should be a great show next week. But we'll talk about it then. Brad, take us home.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We will see you on the next show. Until then, stay safe. May the Force be with you.
Always, and Tabuite.
Rise, Jedi Knight.